I feel like for a couple of weeks now we've been playing a little bit better. We've been talking about that for a long time, and it's still to be determined what kind of role we're on exactly, but I feel pretty good going into this week, and certainly with a little bit longer time period here in preparation for North Carolina, it's nice to be coming off a couple wins. It certainly makes this period of time a little bit more enjoyable, a little bit more constructive, and we were a little slow getting started this year, but we kept talking about getting better, working hard, and continuing to improve, and that has generally been the case here. And we got a couple of important games coming up, and now we got to make it happen on these coming game days.
What's been the biggest difference for you guys in your mind?
Well, I think you go back to our trip out to Notre Dame, and if there was a single thing, you'd say that Matt Barrett's been playing better. For whatever reason, whether it was the expectations coming off last year or whatever else, he just got off to a little bit slower start, and it's really hard to play good defense if you're not getting consistent goal play. And I think he might be the first to admit that he just started a little bit slowly this year. But out at Notre Dame, he played very well, and that has continued. And we shut out a pretty good Richmond team this past weekend. He gets a couple of real saves in that game, and him playing, I think, is clearly the issue. We've gotten a little healthier as we've gone on. Pinnell and Lukovic were banged up early. They've been pretty healthy now for a couple of weeks, and so the ball's still not jumping in the net for us offensively the way that we would like to see it. But defensively, we've been better over the last couple of weeks, and so I think that tells the story as much as anything else.
You touched on Matt there a little bit. Do you feel like he maybe had a little bit of a hangover from that NCAA performance last spring, or what do you attribute?
Yeah, the truth, Whitey, is that I think it could have been any or all of that. I don't think we talked enough about or thought enough about how he might have felt coming off that final game of the year last year. He has a big season overall, though. He's the second-team All-American goalie coming into this season. So between the expectations of the one and the disappointment of the other, I think it just might have been it just might have affected him a little bit early in the year emotionally and psychologically and stuff. And then we are struggling a little bit early in the year, and I think the goalie always feels a disproportionate amount of the pressure, of that, and so I think it did kind of much. And we were very concerned, about leaning on him too much early in the year, that there was an awful lot on his plate, and but it was really hard to be able to say to somebody, hey, look, just relax a little bit, and let it come to you some. He just seems so over anxious, but he just seems a little bit more relaxed in the cage at the moment, a little more patient, waiting for the ball, and then, like I say, he's just been much better the last couple of weeks.
Did you ever have any specific conversations with him about telling him to relax and that?
No, I didn't, but Joe did. My assistant Joe, who takes care of the goalies, I think he and Matt spent a lot of time together. And I was watching Matt. He continued to do all the things that he was doing a year ago. He stays out here extra for shooting. I remember the day after. I forget what day. Maybe it was the day after the Notre Dame, the practice after Notre Dame. We were out here on the field, and he and about 8 guys were out here about an hour before practice even started. And so, it's like, I think the play and the goal are like shooters that aren't hitting the outside shot. You're reluctant to say too much. You don't want to get in their head a little bit, and at the same time you're sort of screaming at them to just keep shooting. For Kohallen, the ball's not going in early in the year. If he doesn't score, it's not going to happen for us. And so we're telling him, you just got to keep shooting the ball. And I think it's a little bit the same for the goalie. You just got to, telling a kid to relax does not make it happen. He's just got to start to feel a little bit better, a little more confident about who he is and what his role is, and just a little bit more comfortable doing what he does well.
And then against North Carolina, what do you know about them, and what kind of matchup are you expecting?
We're probably, sort of sickeningly familiar with North Carolina. Having played them over the years, I feel like they're our sort of our sister school as much as any other school is. The transition in some personnel for them offensively. They're in the same boat that we're in right now. They're a team that's been kind of finding their way over the course of the season. Very athletic, want to play the game fast, ride you all over the whole field, trying to create opportunities in the middle of the field. A team like us in some ways, hopefully, like I say, for us to go on the road in Chapel Hill, again, I don't think I'll have to spend a lot of time getting the players' attention for this one. I think everybody understands it's an important game, and it probably comes at the right time for us. And it'll be Carolina and Virginia, we've played a lot of close games over the year. I would anticipate this one going to be in the same mold.
You're on a pretty good streak now. You kind of alluded to it in your opening remarks there, but do you think you need like this kind of a win maybe against an ACC team to kind of really prove to yourselves, that you are back and,
Yeah, well, I don't think we dwell on that too much, but I think we're all aware of it, and we just need to, we need to go get on a roll, get on a little bit of a run here. I mean, we're a program that expects to be competing at the end of the year, expects to be competing at the highest level. We understand that we kind of stumbled our way in the beginning of the season. We've had lots of years in which we've been really good in February and March, and maybe the season ended a little bit earlier than we would have liked it to. And we're hopeful right now that we're building toward the end of the season here, and we've got only a couple of weeks to go in the season, but a couple of really important games. And I feel like anything that these players would have aspired to going into the season is still attainable for us, and so we just got to go and take care of our business. Clearly, we need to get a couple of important wins, with Carolina and Duke and the ACC tournament and Georgetown coming up, on the near horizon. We just got to go, and we don't have a lot of margin for error. We just got to go take care of business.